So I have been testing this microphone for a while, the Maono PD300X. It's got USB and XLR, a metal body, DSP features, and the price is still under $100. But is it just another affordable microphone? Or can it actually compare with more expensive microphones? Let's find it out. I'll test this microphone with Maono PD200X and Fifine AM8 and tell you exactly where this microphone shines and where it doesn't. Let's talk about the build quality first. Compared to PD200X, this is a tank. It's almost entirely metal, including the shock mount ring, and it feels solid in hand. You get a USB-C and XLR port, a headphone jack for monitoring, and a soft touch gain knob with a mute button on top. Now, one thing I really like, that is this microphone comes with a USB Type-C to Type-C cable with a USB-A adapter. You don't need to buy extra adapter. Right now you are hearing me through the USB connection in flat EQ mode. Let me switch over to XLR through my interface. I am using the USB connection and the XLR connection together. This microphone supports that feature, and I am recording the XLR output on my Zoom H6 sound recorder. Now we are on XLR. Notice any difference? To my ears, both sounds pretty clean, but the USB version has built-in DSP that you can control via Maono Link software. The software supports both Windows and Mac system. More on that in a few minutes. Compared to PD200X, the PD300X sounds more fuller and refined. The PD200X is okay, but it lacks clarity in high ends and doesn't have that rich round warmth the 300X gives out of the box. Now let's do a quick comparison. Here's the Fifine or Fifine AM8. It's cheaper, sounds decent, and it has only 16-bit USB recording and no DSP control. Now here is the very identical Maono PD200X. It sounds a bit compressed to me and lacks some dynamic range. And yeah, it's okay for the price, but this microphone is better than Maono PD200X because this microphone falls into a premium segments that Maono produce. And here we are again on the PD300X. It's clear and balanced, not overly hyped, and it has more detail across the frequency range. If you're using this microphone via USB, then Maono Link software gives you full control over EQ preset, custom multi-band EQ, compressor, limiter, noise gate, and whatnot. Let's have a quick look. So here you can see I am recording the audio using Adobe Audition, and here is the Maono Link software. So I can modify the audio in real time using this Maono Link application. So now it is recording using the flat EQ. You can change the EQ just by clicking on it. So when you get the microphone, by default it is set to low cut and mid. I don't know why this EQ is the default EQ. If you reset it, you can see it is going back to low cut. Again, if I select flat and then reset, it will go back to low cut and mid boost EQ. But I really like the flat sound, so I'll recommend you to use Maono Link software and set the flat EQ. You can use compressor from here. You can use limiter if you want, and you can just set the limiter from here. If you click on this 3 dot, then you will have the advanced option to set your limiter properly. For the compressor, again you will have the advanced control here. If you click on this 3 dot, you can set the threshold ratio and whatnot for your compressor. And yeah, you will get some preset like podcast. Here is you are hearing using the podcast preset. Now the recording, this is another preset, and lastly the gaming. I really like the original flat EQ, and if you want you can tweak that EQ just by clicking on add, and then you can manually set your EQ as your likings or depending on your voice. But for now I really like the flat EQ, and I will suggest you to use that. If you're using podcast recording or gaming, those preset doesn't sound great, so I'll suggest you to use the original flat EQ. Let's quickly check out the specification of Maono PD300X. This is a dynamic microphone. The capsule is a dynamic capsule, and the capsule has cardioid polar pattern. It supports XLR and USB. Sample rate 192 kHz, 24-bit frequency response, 40 Hz to 16 kHz and max SPL 130 dB. You can also ram the mute button for extra function. Now talking about the construction, it has a built-in shock mount. It really works fine. So if I just touch the microphone and then if I touch the shock mount, you can see there is a difference, right? I'm touching the microphone, again the shock mount. If I touch the cable and then USB cable, if I just tap on my table, you can see it is working fine. Very decent job done by the shock mount, and I think the shock mount is better than this shock mount which was used on Maono PD300X. There is a dial and button on this microphone, so when you are using the microphone using USB, then you can use the dial to adjust the gain and adjust the monitor volume. Again, there is a mute button. You can just press the mute button to mute the microphone. So if I just press the button, again I'm just pressing, so you can hear if there is a sound made by the button. So I think when you turn on the microphone again, I mean unmute the microphone again, it make a small noise. Now let's see how good the cardiac polar pattern is working. I'm directly talking to the microphone, and if I just talk and if I talk from the side, you can hear my volume. Again I'm just talking and I'm just talking from the back side. Again I'm talking from the side, and here I'm talking from the microphone. And now if I just talk very closely, you can hear the proximity effect. So I'm just talking and hitting the microphone, you can hear my voice very closely, right? And again I'm from 8-inch away from the microphone capsule. So here it is, 1 feet away from the microphone, 2 feet away from the microphone. Okay, let's share my verdict about this microphone. So I'll just start with the pros. The first pros is solid metal build. Construction is very high quality and metal build microphone, and I have found the foam they have used to block your plosive is actually very good. The quality is very good compared to the older version. Second pro, it supports USB and XLR, and you can use both feature together. So now I'm using the USB and recording using Audition. Again I'm using the XLR connection and recording it on my Zoom H6. Then the third point is clean flat sound with USB feature. So sometimes when you are using this kind of microphone that supports USB, it doesn't give you the clean audio via the USB connection. You need to use the XLR connection for that. But this microphone really performs great when you are using the microphone via USB connection. And the advantage using this microphone compared to Fifine microphone is that you will get a software to customize the feature. You can use the DSP, I mean digital signal processing software, on your computer to set different EQ or limiter or compressor, so that sounds great whenever you are live streaming or using for any live occasions. So those are the pros, and now let's talk about the cons. The first cons was the EQ doesn't sound very great. I have found the only good sounding EQ is the flat EQ, and if you want to use the EQ, you can always make your own EQ for your voiceover, and then you can use that. But those preset that comes along with the application isn't that great. And the second thing that I have found, the limiter doesn't always prevent clipping. So how much threshold you set, it doesn't prevent the clipping all the time. So make sure to set the gain carefully. And the third one is the button will make sound. The multifunction knob, when you press the knob, it will make sound when you're doing live, or if you just mute the microphone using the button, it will make a click sound. For me, the flat EQ with light compression works best. I avoid all the fancy presets they actually make, and the mic sound worse. So do I recommend the Maono PD300X? If you want a mic under $100 that gives you both USB and XLR facilities, solid sound and the software control, it's a solid choice. It's not the perfect sounding microphone, but for the price, it punches way above its weight. Let me know in the comment section below, would you pick PD300X over PD200X or Fifine AM8? And don't forget to subscribe if you want more honest real world gear review like this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, goodbye.